Some of my original Ashimmu PvP roams were recorded around 1.5 years ago. At the time I used this ship exclusively for nullsec systems, and I haven't actually changed the build ever since then. The only real change happened when the rig integrations were released, but this ship is still the same Ashimmu from back in the day. And honestly, I don't think that I will change the build on this ship. Now when I think about it, I really don't have to change anything, it still runs really well. However, since I started to use this ship in low sec, I noticed that the current build that I use works in no sec, but for low sec you have to change the medium slot modules. And I'm also talking about changing some webs and points into scramblers, because in low sec a lot of targets will have a lot of stabs. So let me show you the first interesting build that you will see in this video. So currently I have 3 scramblers on this Ashimmu and total 12 points, so it should hold a ship that has 3 warp core optimizers. And of course I still use the Nosferatu to replenish the Ashimmu's capacitor. The Nosferatu can also be used as a neutralizer because it does deplete the capacitor of practically any ship. And of course I will be using pulse lasers and beam lasers as well. As for the other modules, well, they are the same. Now I have one more B-type module that I will show you here in a moment. I have one adaptive and one reactive B-type shield hardener, and I will use this one when I'm fighting a ship that uses 2 damage types, but in most cases I think I will still use dual adaptives. However, the reactive can be very useful and it is nice to have B-type modules. Now you can technically replace one scrambler into a web. Now I have 8 points, and that's also more than enough to hold most targets, but ships that have 9 warp core stabs can easily warp away, so using a 3rd scrambler can work really well. Beam lasers have 9.76 accuracy, 9.76 kilometers accuracy fall-off, so technically you can orbit at 12 kilometers with the afterburner and it should hit really well. However, if you are already going into close range, then I really recommend that you use pulse lasers. Their optimal range falls well within the optimal range of the scramblers. You can use a micro warp drive to quickly burn towards your target, but I would not recommend that you orbit with the micro warp drive. So afterburner seems to be whoops, that's the wrong afterburner. Let me go to the medium one. There we go. Now that's much better. Okay, so I really recommend that you use a afterburner if you are brawling with the Ashimmu, because you can maintain a stable speed and you can maintain a good orbit, and of course your lasers will have good accuracy. Alright, well, time to warm up today, and let's go towards the first target. I have 2 scramblers, a web and 1 Nosferatu. I have a battlecruiser. I have a good warping on this battlecruiser, and now I am going to warp towards them. Should land around 10 to 13 kilometers from that ship. It is kinda a long warp, but it's not too long. So now I should be landing at any moment. There is the battlecruiser. I landed at 6 kilometers. That's perfect. Right in the scrambler range, they have been scrambled, but they have warp core stabs and they have warped to the station. Okay, well, that means time to change the build and, well, I will return to try to catch that battlecruiser.
Warp drive
This
active.
time I have 3 scramblers and of course 1 Nosferatu. I have 12 points and technically I have a Nosferatu and a neutralizer. I like to use Nosferatu as a neutralizer on Blood Raider ships. There is the battlecruiser, 4 kilometers. They have been scrambled and, well, I will orbit at 10 kilometers. Now I use beam lasers, that's because I didn't have time to change into pulse lasers, so beam lasers will have to do the job. However, remember the optimal range on the, not the optimal range, but the accuracy fall-off on the beam lasers, 9.76 kilometers, so technically I should be good at this range. The beam lasers should have good accuracy and so far they do seem to hit. I have been webbed, okay. Triple webbed, nice, alright. That battlecruiser was prepared. Now they are actually faster than my ship at the moment, even though I use a afterburner. Still, they are within the scrambler range. I have 13 kilometer range on the scramblers. They are at 11 kilometers. Now I just have to wait until the capacitor on the battlecruiser is depleted, and when the capacitor on the battlecruiser is depleted, they lose webs, and now I can go and approach. Now I can approach and we'll orbit at 5 kilometers. We'll most likely turn off the afterburner to improve the accuracy, but it seems like the capacitor on that battlecruiser is very much empty. Doesn't seem like they have a capacitor battery, or if they did have a capacitor battery, they used the capacitor battery and, well, now the capacitor battery is most likely on cooldown. The battlecruiser is now into hole, slowly going down. Doesn't look like they use the webs on me. That's because the capacitor is at 0%. And looks like the capacitor is going to stay at 0%. Alright, nice. That was a nice first target for today. Nice loot. So they did have capacitor batteries. Well, I guess they panicked and they used the capacitor batteries a little bit too early. But well, that was a nice first target for today. Good target practice. Alright, well, let's go towards the next target. We have a Dominix. Okay, I will orbit at 13 kilometers, but my ship refuses to orbit at 13. Now, in this case, you will notice that my orbit doesn't work for some reason. I set at one distance and the ship orbits at another distance. I set 13 kilometers, but the ship orbits at 16 kilometers. That's just something that happens from time to time. I'm pretty sure that happens because my internet is not that good. But at the moment, the Dominix is scrambled by the other ships, so they're not going to go anywhere. I just need to make the ship orbit at the range that I want the orbit to happen, but that's kinda not happening at the moment for some reason. so I just have to go and orbit at close range. I think this should work. The Dominix is a big ship, so I can easily orbit at 7 kilometers. Okay, although I did set 8 kilometers, but that's okay. The Dominix is in 50% armor and looks like they are going down rapidly. I set at 11 kilometers, now at 7 kilometers. I guess I should always constantly change my orbit, that way I will keep the ship within the optimal range. I have been webbed, I have been scrambled, and I have dual large neutralizers on my ship. However, this Ashimmu is very tanky. I don't have to worry about the tank on this ship. It does hold out against all the incoming damage. And nice! That Dominix was a very nice target. Let's take a look at the wreck. My shield holding out very well. I will have to shoot down that one ship that uses the scrambler and web on me. Oh, nice! That was a nice catch. Okay, I have destroyed that ship. Now I can warp away. That was a very successful catch. Alright, let's warp towards the next target.
Warp drive active.
Warping straight through the planet. That's interesting. Next target, Oracle. Okay, they are at 10 kilometers. I have to quickly scramble and web them. They have been scrambled and webbed. I will orbit at this range. This is now the optimal perfect range. I will orbit without the mic warp drive. Oracle now into low armor, entering hull. In this case, dual scramblers seem to hold this Oracle. They are using large beam lasers. They cannot hit an Ashimmu at this range with large beam lasers. The Ashimmu is surprisingly a very small ship, and it is indeed very hard to hit. I have been webbed, but the capacitor on the Oracle seems to be running low, and that was a nice kill. Let me grab the loot, and now let's warp out. Alright, interesting. That was a third nice catch for today.
Warp drive active. Warp drive active.
Warping towards the next target. Now this is the classic Ashimmu setup that I have been using for like 1.5 years, 2 years now. And our target is a Dominix 2. Alright. I love to shoot down drone boats. We'll orbit with the afterburner. They have been pointed, webbed. In this case, I use pulse lasers. And I have to admit, I actually enjoy using pulse lasers on this ship. However, I feel a lot more safe using beam lasers. The Dominix is now into hull. Beam lasers actually saved my ship a lot of times, and dual webs also saved my ship from a lot of risky situations. And ever since then I haven't used anything else on the Ashimmu because it was working so well and did not have a reason to change the build. And that was also a nice skill, I forgot to mention that. So let's warp towards the next one. Now the next target is going to be a very tricky one. Now this rattlesnake that you are about to see is super tanky, and my goal here and my mission is to web the rattlesnake to enable the striker to use its full potential DPS in the siege mode. Web targets take a lot of extra damage from battleships in siege mode, and you can definitely see that the shield on the rattlesnake, it did take a lot of damage, and now the armor and hull will just disappear, but the shield on that rattlesnake was really tanky, and the Ashimmu did a good job to web down the target to enable full DPS on the Megatron Striker. And our mission was a good success. That rattlesnake did carry a B-type module that you could see on the start of this video. And well, there's the kill mail. Again, very nice. And overall a very scary snake, I have to admit. Impressive tank. Very impressive tank. However, they did not have any capacitor batteries, so a Blood Raider ship could easily... Well, actually, I don't think that it could easily win a 1v1, but maybe a Balgorn, because you could easily deplete the capacitor of that rattlesnake. Our next target, we have an Apocalypse Striker. Now, from all ships that we attack, that we jump, the Apocalypse Striker is the one that I'm very cautious around. That is one ship that can easily kill me if I'm not careful. And from all Striker battleships, the Apocalypse Striker is the most difficult to engage and to shoot down. The Megatron Striker would be the easiest to shoot down. The Apocalypse Striker would be the most difficult one, because these things, if they want you dead, they will get you dead, let me tell you that. So you have to be very careful if you engage an Apocalypse Striker. However, this Apocalypse Striker is currently busy shooting at the Stratius with beam lasers, and it looks like they are not doing any damage to the Stratius. That's good. Orbiting at 0 with a couple webs works really well, and I have webbed the Apocalypse as well. As you can see, I use the micro warp drive from time to time. There is a chance that the beam lasers cannot track me at this range with the micro warp drive, but again I have to be very careful. Not quite sure what's the DPS on that Apocalypse, but I'm pretty sure that the DPS on that ship is pretty scary, and I have to be always ready to warp away if needed. The Apocalypse is in hull. Looks like they have... Well, that does not look like the Death Wish Nanocore, but it's quite similar. I think it's the Clear Sky Nanocore, I might be wrong. They are now in very low hull. And one more hit, and nice. Apocalypse Striker has been destroyed. Very nice work. Honestly, I actually expected that I would have to warp away, because, well, it's an Apocalypse Striker after all, but I guess I was kinda lucky that they did not shoot at me. Alright, well, let's go towards the next target. Warping at the location, and we have a Rapture. Okay, that's interesting. Let's quickly orbit. They have been pointed, scrambled. I use pulse lasers. Yeah, I use pulse lasers, okay. The pulse laser and beam laser icon on medium lasers is the same, so it's kinda difficult to tell what weapon I use until I see the effect of the weapons. That was a very funny little kill. Let's go towards the next one. Let's quickly warp. Okay, in warp. This is again the classic Ashimmu setup. This build proved itself to be ridiculously effective in null-sec systems, where ships are not as stabbed as in low-sec. So here we have a little fight with another hunting group. But by the time I arrived, my buddies already destroyed 3 faction frigates. There is also one Ashimmu warping towards... yeah, there's the Ashimmu. They have a Dominix, and there is the Ashimmu, switching primary targets to the Blood Raider. They have been webbed and pointed. The Blood Raider will be the primary target. That Ashimmu is a shield tank as well. However, their shield is going down. Doesn't appear to be as tanky as my Ashimmu. Okay, the Ashimmu going down. The next primary will be the Dominix. They have been webbed, they have been pointed. The Dominix seems to be an armor tank. That means my capacitor battery... well, my bad, not the capacitor battery, my apologies. I'm a little bit sleepy, recording this at 2 AM in the morning, so I might make some little mistakes here and there. My Nosferatu should slowly deplete the capacitor of the Dominix. They have a very nice armor tank. Looks like they are tanking our damage. Interesting. So that means we have to deplete the capacitor if we want to shoot down the Dominix. Okay, I think we are going through the tank. They are now in low armor and they are now into hull. They still have a lot of capacitor left. My capacitor is at 96%. It does recharge itself with every cycle, and until that happens, you know that the target has capacitor. And they are still repairing armor, but we are going through the armor and the Dominix has been destroyed. Very nice. That was a nice little, well, not a camp smash, although how do you call this actually? We did smash another hunting fleet, so I guess a hunting fleet smash? I don't know. In any case, was pretty good action. And I have to say, my teammates here have some very impressive tactics. By the time I warp from the station to my buddy over there, they already destroyed 3 faction frigates, 2 Dramiels and 1 Daredevil. Now this is a Sino that was opened for some weird reason, and honestly kinda expecting a Dreadnought to pop out of that hole, but for some reason nothing is coming out yet, so let's just shoot down the Sino before anything comes out of that, so just to be safe, you know. There we go. Sino ship has been destroyed. Now let's quickly warp away before something unexpected happens. First time that I see Sino in this system. Usually, you know, you open Sino in warping towards the next target. Now there is a Mordu frigate running around, and I'm very interested in that little frigate. There is the Garmur. Although the Garmur is a little bit far away, I have miscalculated the warping. Landed 100 plus kilometers from that frigate, and looks like the Blood Raider Vampire is a little bit too scary for that little, you know. I'm actually kind of conflicted. Which ship is actually more cute, the Astero or the Garmur? Which one of these two ships is actually, you know, more cute when you look at it? I personally think the Astero, because, well, it's an Astero. It's definitely the cutest ship in the game. Although the Garmur actually looks pretty good as well. So I'm kinda conflicted. Which one of these ships is actually, you know, which one looks better? I have to admit, the design of the Garmur is adorable because it's a little flat boat with some very nice curves on it, and overall the design looks pretty good. Although Astra with the little wings, with the scanner and things like that, is also adorable, so I don't know. Kinda conflicted between these two little boats. I actually love both of them, but you know, kinda fighting for the you know, first place there. Well, after chasing the ship for a couple of minutes, they are at 17,000 kilometers away from me, so let's just leave that frigate alone for now. It's obvious that they don't want to play today, so let me just return to the station and wait for the next target. Alright, let's go towards the next target. Little Vampire here a little bit sad that the Garmur frigate did not want to play with this ship. But that was a bad joke. Okay, I need to stop making bad jokes. I don't know. Oh man, what do we have here? We have... oh god. You know, I haven't seen that ship in a very long time. So let me just quickly shoot down that destroyer. I really cannot wait until we get the actual versions of these ships, because on paper they look very interesting, and I can guarantee I will fly these ships because I like them. I actually like them, and I feel like they have some great potential to be very scary little boats. I think we have a Drake lurking around. Yep, we have one Drake lurking around. Excellent warping. They have been webbed, pointed. They are shooting at the interceptor. Well, something just exploded. Hopefully that wasn't the interceptor. The Drake is... well, the Drake did... yeah, that was an explosion. That's an explosion. Alright. The interceptor seems to be safe. Okay, that's good. I got worried there for a moment. Thought that the interceptor did get destroyed, but the interceptor was, and still is, alive and well. And let's warp towards the next target. I think this might be the final target for today. Another Drake. Very interesting. I have warped a little bit far away, so now I just have to quickly burn towards the Drake. Now, it might be just me, but I feel like the Drake is also moving at a decent velocity, because it would look like I have some problems catching up. But again, it might be, you know, just something that looks like it, but it's not actually the case. They have been webbed. Let me maintain this orbit. Okay. Well, even if they were fast before, they're definitely not fast now. They are not going anywhere while being webbed. The Drake is now into hole. You can actually see the missiles chasing the interceptor. The interceptor is actually faster than the missiles. Kinda funny to look at. That was also a nice target and a nice kill. Alright, well, that was a pretty good roam today. We had some pretty good targets, actually, when I think about it. Yeah, we had some pretty good targets. Couple battleships, couple cruisers, some faction cruisers, couple battle cruisers, and some cruisers. Overall, I'm absolutely satisfied with today's roam. Was pretty good. Was actually really good. Well then, hope that you enjoyed. Over here at the moment of me finishing up with the video, it's 2 AM, a little bit late, I know, so I probably should go back to sleep. And well, with that being said, hope that you enjoyed. Stay safe, fly safe, good night, and I'll see you next time.